We always have your back with Education Station, and we're talking with the New England Tractor Trailer Training School this morning. Carl Stebbins and Mike Demars are joining us, president of the New England Tractor Trailer Training School and the corporate director of safety and training for the New England Tractor Trailer Training School, which, by the way, is NETTTS, and that's where a lot of their social medias will take you as well. Just want to kind of give you guys a heads up if you want to learn more about them. NETTTS.com. You can find them also on the Book of Face at NETTTS.training, NETTTS space training on the gram of Insta, NETTTS training, one word, on the X, formerly known as Twitter, and you can find them on our favorite platform, the Tube of You, at NETTTS, and they're also on the Talks of Tick with that space in between that nets and training as well. It's a pleasure to have you both. Good morning to you. How are we doing?
Good morning. Great day here in New England.
Morning, Jimmy.
So what we're going to do here, guys, is I promise you I will use your names on asking questions. You can always throw it to your partner, but that way this won't turn into a Howard Hawks movie on the air. Let's just kind of start off, Carl, by kind of telling us about your institution proper. Tell us about NETTTS. Tell us about the New England Tractor Trailer Training School, because I do want to put out an APB for anybody in the New England area in a second here. But tell us all about it, Carl.
Sure. We are a training institution. We've been around for 60 years. We're celebrating the 60th anniversary this year. And we have locations in Somers, Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, North Andover, Massachusetts, and Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We train about 3,500 CDL drivers a year, and we employ about 120 CDL instructors. Our fleet consists of about 40 trucks and trailers at each location. So, you know, we're not only a tractor trailer training school, we're a trucking company too. And, you know, I think all the listeners out there that are rolling down the road will understand what comes with being a responsible company and all the rules and regulations that come with that. And it's all safety first at NETTTS. I think when you're in this industry, that's the motto, safety first. So that's a little bit about us and what we do.
And by the way, I'm going to come back to you in a second, but Mike, why don't you unpack your bio for us as well, too, to kind of give people a sense of your bona fides, that which, by the way, included running a stint on the Alaskan ice roads and delivering almost every product we can think of. I want to kind of establish, since you guys are looking for trainers, what it is the man who actually is in charge of the training program actually does to kind of establish his own bona fides. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, there's a lot. It goes in many different areas here. Yeah, but I lived in Anchorage, Alaska for about 3 years. I ran those roads. It's very a trauma-driven thing. But it's an everyday job for a regular man. And I like to say I delivered everything except babies. My students always love that. You know, so, but I've been owner-operator for a little bit. And I actually came to NETTTS because I became a single parent. I had to come off the road and take care of my son. And that's when I found my second passion. My first passion is driving, and my second one is helping people. You know, I found out, and I've been with NETTTS I'm going on year 26. But I was a student of New England Tractor Trailer just about 40 years ago. When I got my license, and they helped me. So it's come full circle for me.
Yeah, and part of that full circle is the fact that along with bringing your vast experience as a truck driver into the equation, you've actually made yourself an industry expert in regards to training as well. You not only teach this stuff, you write the curriculum, and not only do you write the curriculum, but you have to kind of keep up with it and review it as new rules and regulations come on board, as new certifications come into play, ELDT, all of the stuff that's been kind of fast and furious over the last decade. You've had to keep up with it. You can't just simply have a frozen in time and space document. You're dealing with new technologies and all that kind of stuff. Talk to us a little bit about, and then we'll get back to Carl, a little bit how you handle the ongoing changes in the educational space for trucking.
That is the challenge, Jimmy. It's the largest challenge, and I'm thankful. This is an exciting time at NETTTS right now. We've hired a small cadre of people to really help rework our curriculum, to really bring it into into the now and really produce and give the industry and give every one of our students the best opportunity to go forward. And to stay on top of that, obviously there's thousands of publications we review, listening to the drivers that talk on your show. We get a lot of information and feedback from the culture that's out there now. And obviously talking to our partners in the industry that hire our drivers and anyone who really can give us some valuable input. We take that all in. Everything from, from teaching our students, the things aren't even required as part of the test, but every driver needs. Sliding tandems, dropping hook, and all this kinds of stuff that comes into play. And it's just reaching out to the thousands of people in the industry that can help us bring all this forward to our students.
Carl, I want to pivot to you. Like I said, we have enough time to kind of dig into this, and I want to give people a sense of who you are as well. You actually not only have experience, of course, on the open road of the United States, you have experience, as many of our listeners and many of our guests have, is you're once a Marine, always a Marine. Can you talk a little bit about your service? And I would love to hear a little bit about your duties during the Joint Task Force Alaskan Road.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. And Semper Fi to all those Marines out there. You're right. It's certainly a brotherhood. My father served in the Marine Corps, and all I ever wanted to do was be half the man my father was. So I followed his footsteps, and that's what really drove me there. And I can tell you, it changed who I am. The disciplines that you learn, and the camaraderie of working with people from all across the country, just really made me a different person. I still take lessons from what I learned in the Marines and apply them every day. Joint Task Force Alaskan Road, this was circa 1996, 97. I was up in Alaska, stationed at Camp. We had a deployment of Marines from 7th Engineer Support Battalion. I was one of those. We were about 25 strong, and we set up a base camp and built the original base camp. It was a 5-year project. We were the first Marines to land. And what we were doing is building a road from one side to the other so that the Americans that lived on the island could get to Ketchikan, Alaska, to get supplies. Because on the other side, the waters were so still they would freeze. And so the Marines set up the base camp, was part of that group, and reservists rotated in from April until October, from the Air Force, Army Reserves, Navy Seabees, from all over the country. And the base camp had 300 soldiers and military personnel from all different branches there at any given time, and they'd rotate in every 2 weeks. And our duty was to teach them our job. So I was in water purification. I taught them how to purify the water and keep the base camp stocked with fresh, clean drinking water. So it's quite an experience.
Well, I also wanted to kind of do that because I wanted to give people a sense of both you and Mike have a deep understanding of not just what it means to actually drive a truck, but all the other things that go into kind of the consideration of what it means to kind of be in the middle of a supply chain. And that's really crucial. I also did this, I brought this up too, because my brother, who was much like you, Semper Fi, he actually gave a really wonderful speech on behalf of my dad saying I'm half the man that my dad was. And my dad got up there and he said, as a former member of the U.S. Army, he said, you joined the Marines, and confirmed it. I just wanted to get that in there just so you would enjoy that particular joke. And by the way, it led off to a lot of laughter after my dad gave him a big hug about how proud he was of him. I do want to ask you in regards to, you guys are looking for new trainers, and I wanted to give people a sense of both of your backgrounds here, because I always feel like when people hire employees, they always kind of look to themselves and their own level of experience. And so, Carl, I'm going to let Mike talk about this in a second, but I'd like you to kind of talk about what you guys look for in a trainer, because, Mike's already alluded to it to some degree with his own personal experience and the people he's talked about bringing in. You guys are looking for trainers right now, and this is a larger conversation about what people should look for in regards to trainers in general. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. The first thing that we look for is somebody, and I stole this from Mike, so he'll probably repeat it, but we look for somebody who's kind and patient. Obviously you have to have a CDL license, and you need to have it for 3 years or more in order to become a trainer at NETTTS. But we really need people that understand that this is adult education, and everybody went through a training program once. It's just after years of being on the road, you tend to forget where you started. And it takes a lot of patience. Not everybody learns the same rate. So it takes patience to understand that our students have other things happening outside of the campus that may be influencing them. And what we're doing is changing people's lives, not just teaching how to drive a truck. So we're looking for people that are really kind and patient and can understand that the students have more challenges than just learning a new skill set. And we're here to support our students through that, get them to the finish line, get them licensed, and help them find a company that's going to take them from newly licensed CDL driver, put an effective program, make them a professional driver after that. Because what we're doing is helping them get the certification and be ready to enter the workforce. What the trucking companies are doing is taking them to the
I'm going to pivot here to Mike for a second and just kind of ask you in regards to one of the things I imagine you're looking for as well, too, because you're dealing with so many changes to the curriculum. It's also kind of helpful to have people who have been out there in the last couple of years, whether they've got, 3 to 5 years of experience or 20. You really want people who have seen what's going on now to kind of be a part of the conversation, to let the people who are coming in now know what they can expect when they get out there now. You talk about the kindness element of it, too. Talk to me about the organizational element of what it means to be a teacher. And I understand this on a very personal level, the amount of information you have to keep in your head, both in the present and also tracking development. Can you kind of breathe into that, Mike?
I can. I can. To touch on the modern stuff, listen, I just really need people who have been out there recently, with all the new technologies, the automatic transmissions, the radars for following distances, and the trucks with no mirrors on them now. All this kind of stuff comes into play that we try to get to our new students. But for our employees and new teachers that we bring on board, where we actually transform them to be teachers because they're truck drivers, which even though they both start with a T, they probably couldn't be further apart. So we're looking for people, we're looking for people who can be team players, because being a teacher in a school as large as NETTTS is a team. It's a team occupation. It's not one person. We have to support each other. Obviously, Carl stole. He didn't steal. It's the truth. We look for people that are kind. We look for people that are personable, that are not judgmental, that are willing to say, all right, yeah, you almost got it. We need people to empathize, not sympathize. We need I go right back to the very root of education. I try to get them to remember when they taught their children to tie their shoes, and they didn't get it the first time. What did you do then? Well, you showed them again. And our program is built in such a way that the experience that our teachers come in with is so needed, because we do so much more than just get their license. That's the easy part. We try to get them ready for their career, and we need those teachers that can set their ego on the shelf when they come in and work with people who don't know what a slack adjuster is. So that's really where it comes in. They have to come down. I like to say we reach down for our students to lift them up. But you have to be that personable kind of guy that likes to talk and likes to have, lively, friendly, educational debates so that students understand what's going on.
It's funny, by the way, you bring up slack adjusters. We were talking about this just yesterday. The joke we were making is when it comes to checking a slack adjuster, it becomes a matter of there's a difference between slack and, man, that just gave a whole way too much, and kind of explaining the difference. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like a little bit of slack and a slack adjuster, terrific. Wait a minute. Between this isn't moving at all and, man, we got a problem. So that becomes a real – and the idea also, I think, to some degree is to make people want to trust you, to create an atmosphere when people first come in. I mean, look, having been around military people all my life, it can be a very effective means when you have to go into very interesting places and take on very interesting characters, but it can also be very destructive to some degree in a trucking environment, in a training environment where somebody say, hey, you know what, this isn't for me, and they just leave, and you might have lost a good driver. And I wanted to ask that question as well as one more follow-up, Mike, and then we'll get back to Carl. How do you spot talent? Meaning, people sometimes just show up and they're there and they want to give it a shot, and then you get a sense of if they can do it or not. But do you guys do any active recruiting in the same way that, in the same way that you might find at a college campus, the same way you might find for a football program or even a trucking company? Are you able to say, these are the kind of people that we're looking for? Do you find they fall into categories? My brother always said if he wanted to hire somebody for his weatherization company, he would go to the same fast food restaurant for 2 weeks and just get a small breakfast and watch behind the counter for the most responsible person there and say, that's the guy we should steal from them. Is there a target audience for what you do?
As you were getting that question out, I'm thinking here, the trucking industry is so vast. Our target audience is just so large. It's hard to pick out that one area where you could say, yeah, this is where you get your instructors from. This is where you get the teachers from, because I just haven't found that to be true. They come from every single walk, every area, long haul drivers, short haul drivers, tankers, firemen, policemen, wherever they started. I don't think there's a single target audience besides that CDL. It's just so vast.
If I could add to that, though, Mike, I do think that people that succeed with us are people that are ready to come off the road. Single parents or retirees, people that are ready to give back. And they've finished put an end to a successful career of hauling freight, and now they want to do something different, and they have that feeling of giving back. I think that might be the team that we have at NETTTS.
Yeah, I would agree with that because it circles right back to my very being. That's exactly why I came to NETTTS. I had to come off the road, and I found my new passion.
Yeah, and I kind of want to bring this up too, because one of the things you guys have to do is you have to, of course, work with the trainers, monitor the trainers as the trainers monitor the students, check in with them to see how the students are coming along, but also see how the trainers are coming along. And then this is a big thing too, Carl, is we're going to kind of pivot a little bit here into the idea that you guys are adding HVAC technology programs and a whole bunch of other stuff. When do you, when you added when you added those programs, when do you make the decision to add new programs? Like I said, you added stuff, over and over again, but how do you decide to onboard new programs? It's not just onboarding new rules and regs and new technologies, but to actually expand what you offer in regards to the training that happens there. What's the decision-making process?
That's a great question. And what we look at here is the holes or the gaps in skill versus the trades that are in New England. So, for example, when we looked at the HVAC program and we added that to our program offerings, there was a demand for trained HVAC technicians in New England and a gap of not enough people training. So the first thing we look at, how many job opportunities are available. And we make sure that our enrollment is less than that job opportunity, because we want every person who signs up for our program to go to work at the end of the program. So it's really driven, the decision-making is driven by multiple factors, but the main factor is there a skill and need, and can we provide that training? And that's what we're looking to do, is just close the gap for the skilled trades. And there's a lot of gaps out there right now.
Mike, that is such an interesting kind of thing. I didn't, there's a lot of stuff that occurs to me before I have these interviews, and there's stuff that people say, and I kind of go, oh, that makes perfect sense. You don't want to flood the zone, do you? You want to make sure that the people that you're bringing on, your reputation depends upon these people not only securing employment, but when they do, holding on to that employment. That's kind of the thing, is that your imprimatur isn't getting people the jobs. It's those people keeping those jobs and becoming valued members. So you have to almost kind of look into your crystal balls, look at where the data is going, look at where the job market is going, and make decisions to limit your classes to allow each one of those people that you onboard into an environment where the job is waiting for them and not them having a certification that does them no good in the real world. Am I hearing that right, Mike?
You
Yeah,
go ahead, Mike.
yeah, absolutely. You can't. We don't want our students competing with each other for the same job. There has to be there has to be a career at the end of the rainbow for them to go into, to grow into, and to support their families and enjoy their lives.
I'm going to pivot to Carl here one more time because let's say it again. It is not just a tractor trailer training school, it is a New England tractor trailer training school. And so I was kind of curious, and we can finish off with Mike answering the same question. You're looking for people who live in the region as well, too, because it's not just a matter of training people properly, it's training people to drive in New England, it's training people who are there to actually be able to explain New England, which, by the way, in case anybody hasn't checked, I can promise you, New England ain't the Florida Panhandle, which, by the way, ain't the Great Salt Lake. They're very different
Right.
worlds. And so much of training is regional, and so much of regional training is local. Do I get that right, Carl?
Yes. I think that our partnerships with the state driver's licensing agencies here in New England are very strong. We license people in New Hampshire, Maine, Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York State. And I believe that those state driver's licensing agencies run some of the best programs in the country in terms of how they do the testing, deliver the testing. So we know when our students go for the test, they need to be prepared and at their very best that day to get a CDL license. There is no try again, start over. You nicked a cone, but I didn't see it. It's a very thorough and detailed test, and our students benefit from that partnership with these state driver's licensing agencies because it's very comprehensive. So in New England, the roads are tight up here. Taking a 53-footer into New York City is a little different than, like you said, driving it out in the plains of Kansas. So we're pretty proud of the product that we turn out. And yes, it's all local here in New England, the work that we're doing, including our instructors. They all live within, an hour drive to the campus or so. And it is a different world up here than it is in other states, that's for sure.
Mike, Donnie Tolk of Tulsa Tech one time told me you don't get paid to actually drive, you get paid to back up. And I just keep thinking about Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and North Andover, and the fact that when you drive through a lot of those states, they're essentially gated communities where there is a certain lack of what we would call over-the-road driving opportunities. A lot of this stuff is in really close quarters. Do you find, having looked at other programs, that while you teach everything, as everybody else who is reputable does, that there are places that you look at in particular and say, look, you're not going to have to deal with this thing. We're going to train you on it, but we want to make sure you get this particular thing. Is there anything that you guys really focus on based on your regional reality? Do you dig the question?
Yeah, I do. It is, and you named those too. So our campuses are almost seasonal, like New England. we have summers, which is a farm community, and they take 30 minutes to get to the interstate from here. But our other campuses are almost smack dab in the middle of the fight, right in the middle of the city. Our Bridgeport campus, it is a chore just to get out of the yard and onto the roadway to start their thing. So those guys that they're when they get out there, they're already used to the fight. They're already used to driving in the city. And we've gone so far as to actually this year we had our first annual student driving championship where our Bridgeport campus won it. But the skills are far beyond anything that the state is going to test them on. But we prepare them for that local run into the city of New York, or just backing up down a long road somewhere out in on the Cape where they have to go. They drive in all the weather. We don't shut down for weather. I mean, we're we're cognizant of safety vehicles and we get them a chance to clear. But our students will drive in snow, so they'll see all that before they get out there in the real world.
We don't have any time left, guys, and I could keep this conversation going because there's a whole other conversation I can imagine you guys have. Hey, if you don't want to drive into the city of New York, maybe a local route is the route you want to go if you're driving in New England. This might not be the place for you. But I got to tell you guys, if you are, and we have many listeners out there who have 20, 30 years under their belt, a number of whom actually call New England home. If you guys are looking for a new home, and by the way, this was not part of this segment, but I feel like it's important to do this, guys, go to NETTTS.com. Please check out their information. Go to their Facebook page for NETTTS Training, over on Instagram, NETTTS Training on X, and guys, on YouTube at NETTTS. It's triple T, NETTTS. I can't thank you both enough. I will give my brother a salute from a fellow Semper Fire, and I will let my dad know that I continue to talk to Marines despite his best attempts to stop me from doing so. Thank you both so much, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you both, guys. Really terrific, by the way.